A single dad gave blood to save the CEO's daughter. Then she realized he was the man she mocked. The rain hammered the hospital windows the night fate twisted two lives together. In a crowded emergency ward, where alarms screamed and doctors rushed like shadows, a single dad stood trembling, his shirt drenched and his hands shaking with fear and exhaustion. Across the hallway, a young girl was fighting for her life, unconscious, pale, and losing time fast. The doctors said she needed a rare blood type within minutes, or she wouldn't survive till dawn. And just as panic filled the room, a nurse realized something unbelievable. The only matching donor in the entire building was the same man who had earlier been insulted, dismissed, and humiliated by the girl's powerful CEO mother just hours ago. Yet, without hesitation, the man stepped forward, rolled up his sleeve, and chose kindness over pride, never knowing how deeply this one act would change everything. If you believe in kindness, humanity, and second chances, then please like, comment, share, and subscribe to Soul Tale to support more stories like this. Malik had lived a life shaped by struggle. As a single father raising his 8-year-old daughter Mehak, he worked two jobs, one delivering parcels in the morning and another cleaning office buildings at night. Money was always tight, but he carried a quiet determination, the kind born from love and sacrifice. His days were long, his back often aching, but Mehak's smile was enough to keep him moving. That evening, Ethan had been on his shift cleaning the headquarters of a major corporation. He walked carefully, wearing his worn-out uniform, holding his mop bucket and hopping not to disturb anyone. But as luck would have it, he accidentally crossed paths with Zara Ibrahim, the company's sharp-tongued CEO. She was stressed, running late for a meeting, and when Ethan mistakenly stepped into her path, she snapped at him, calling him careless, slow, and unprofessional. The sting of her words cut into him, but he apologized softly and continued working, choosing dignity over confrontation. Hours later, Ethan went home, prepared dinner for Mehak, helped with her homework and tucked her into bed. But close to midnight, he received a message that would pull him back into the storm of destiny. Zara's 11-year-old daughter, Elena, had collapsed due to a severe medical condition, and she was rushed to the nearest hospital, the same one Ethan had taken Mehak to for a fever earlier that evening. When Zara arrived at the hospital, panic was written across her usually composed face. The doctors told her the truth. Elena's rare blood type made finding a donor difficult, and they had only minutes to spare. Just when Zara felt the ground slipping under her feet, a nurse checked the list of people currently admitted. One name matched, a man whose daughter had been treated earlier, a man named Ethan. When the nurse approached him, Ethan didn't think twice. He didn't ask whose daughter it was, didn't mention the insults he faced, and didn't demand anything in return. He simply said, "If I can help save someone's child, I will." As the blood transfusion began, Zara stood outside the room, watching the man she had mocked earlier lie calmly, donating the one thing her wealth could not buy. The weight of guilt pressed on her chest as she realized the cruel irony. The man she had belittled was now saving the most precious life she had. For the first time in years, Zara felt small, humbled, and overwhelmingly grateful. After Elena was stabilized, Zara approached Ethan just as he was preparing to leave. He looked exhausted, his eyes heavy, his clothes soaked from the rain outside. She tried to speak, but her voice cracked. She wanted to apologize, but the words felt inadequate. Ethan simply nodded, telling her he was glad her daughter was safe, then walked away quietly, returning home to his sleeping daughter. But that night, Zara couldn't stop thinking about him, about how a man with so little still gave so much, about how she, with all her authority and wealth, had failed to see the value of kindness. The next day, Zara asked around and learned about Ethan's struggles, how he balanced two jobs, how he never complained, how he always put his daughter first. Something shifted inside her. It wasn't pity. It was respect, deep, genuine respect. A few days later, Zara met Ethan again, this time in broad daylight with humility replacing ego. She approached him not as a CEO, not as someone superior, but as a mother whose child was alive because of him. And in that moment, she saw him differently, not as a cleaner, not as a man struggling through life, but as a hero made of quiet strength. From that day forward, Zara made a decision. She offered Ethan a better position in her company, one that matched his skills and gave him stability. Ethan hesitated at first, worried about pride, but accepted because it meant a better life for Mahak. Over time, an unexpected bond formed between Zara, Ethan, and their daughters. It wasn't forced, it wasn't fast, it was gentle, slow, and beautifully human. Zara learned what humility meant. Ethan learned that miracles sometimes walk in disguised forms. And their daughters, Elena and Mahak, became inseparable, tied together by a story of sacrifice and fate. As months passed, Zara found herself admiring Ethan more, his kindness, his honesty, his resilience. She saw the beauty of a heart that gave even when it had little. And Ethan saw a woman who was willing to change, to grow, to admit her mistakes. Their story wasn't about romance alone. It was about transformation, forgiveness, and the quiet power of goodness. People often think heroes wear capes or hold positions of power. But sometimes, a hero is simply a single parent who chooses love over bitterness, even when life has been unkind. If this story touched your heart even a little, please like, share, comment, and subscribe to Soul Tale. Your support helps these emotional stories reach more people. Before we end, here is a special request. Please comment "Kindness can change lives" if you believe the world still has good people. And so, this story reminds us that one selfless act can change destinies, sometimes even heal the wounds we never knew we carried.